So I was doing some thinking, doing some writing, and I want to talk about how the internet is quietly changing who you are. So I've written some things and I want to go over those, and then I'll kind of get my thoughts on why I was thinking the way I did. And hopefully, this helps you kind of move yourself away from social media and maybe start asking yourself, why do I think the way that I do? So let's go ahead. I started thinking about how much the internet can shape a person without them realizing it. Not just what they believe, but what they notice, what they fear, what they argue about, and even what identity they start to claim. Sometimes you do not come to a conclusion because of how you carefully thought through it. Sometimes you watch one video, then another, and months later you sound like the room the algorithm kept putting you in. So, what I was going over is I noticed that we have a lot of political climate going on today, but it may seem like it's bigger than it is because when you go on X or you go on another site, you may think these things are like, oh man, everybody's arguing about this one thing, whether it be red pill or gender or politics, everything. But most people aren't even expressing their feelings because most people don't post this online, statistically speaking. It's about 70% of people never ever talk about their politics, but the loudest voices get heard. So when you say I'm conservative or I'm liberal, it may be because you stay in that echo chamber, right? And sometimes you just become what you keep watching. And this is my experience. I just noticed that the more I kept watching certain things, the more conservative I became, the more MAGA, sometimes I become more liberal on certain things, but that's because I'm stuck in whatever it is. And I noticed myself kind of going with that negativity. Excuse me. There is a psychology term called availability heuristics. It means we tend to judge how common something is by how easily examples come to mind. That becomes dangerous online because the internet can show you the kind of example over and over again. After a while, it starts to feel normal. It starts to feel common. It starts to feel like it feels like what everybody is talking about. But seeing something often on your feed does not mean it's happening everywhere. So this is the same thing we see once again. I notice that sometimes when I'm also prowling the internet, the negativity that comes up in sports, for a matter, just because the NBA Finals just ended and so that FIFA just started the World Cup. I noticed that I started seeing like, oh man, everybody loves sports, or everybody hates this one team, or everybody loves Wemby, or everybody hates Jalen Brunson, and blah, 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 blah. But then I actually started to look around and I noticed some people like sports and some people talk about these things, but the vast majority of people are not talking about it. Another quick example is Streamer University with Kai Cenat. It may seem bigger than it is, like most people are like, I can't wait to see Kai Cenat again, or I love iShowSpeed. But I've noticed that the more adults I talk to, most of these people don't know who those guys are. They may have seen them before in a commercial, but they don't actually watch them. So sometimes I can find myself falling into the negativity and the drama that comes with some of these streamers as if their worldview is the most held opinion because I think they have millions of followers, but at the end of the day, they're actually still quite small. And so I don't want to shape myself in that way. Your feed is not random. Your feed is not a random sample of the world. It is a personalized stream of things that the platform believes will keep your attention. So I just want to even stop right there. So when I'm looking at things, it's not like you notice how you get a certain ad or something, or you keep seeing a certain person pop up in your feed. Once again, this is kind of sticking with the echo chamber, but just remember, these things, you're not seeing them not necessarily because you like them. It's because at one moment you decided to look at it, and even if it was a negative thing, such as bad things like racism or death, you may be seeing that again and again and again, or you might notice you're seeing a bunch of fights, people getting beat up and people getting hurt and harmed. You're seeing that because at one point you stopped to watch the video and that algorithm says, oh, this person likes to watch fights. And if you just do that 2 or 3 more times, next thing you know, that's what's coming across your feed all the time. And then that comes with people getting arrested. That comes with people being very racist towards each other. That comes with people being very bigoted. It comes with a lot of stuff. So even though it may seem, once again, that the world is turning into that direction, it's not necessarily true. The algorithm only wants you to stay there and never leave. Social media does not only show you content, it can surely hand you identity. It's much of what we've already talked about, so I'll move on from that. And another thing, there's a man named Jaron Lanier. He talks about social media as something that modifies behavior. That sounds dramatic until you think about how these platforms work. They do not need to know why you stayed on the video. They need to know why you stayed on the video. They only need to know that you stayed. Maybe you stayed because you were angry, or maybe you were scared, maybe you were disgusted, maybe you could not believe what you were seeing. And last thing here, I do not think the answer is that everyone should quit internet forever, but I do think that some of us need to step away long enough to hear our thoughts again. I apologize. To hear our thoughts again. Please don't let yourself get, and for my people who are content creators, if you're watching this for some odd reason, this will also happen to you. The more videos you make, the more you get stuck in an idea and you can't get away from it. Two, if you do get that beautiful view, honey, and we'll talk about that in another video at some point whenever I decide to come back. But once you get that beautiful view, honey, and you taste that, you're going to want to make videos similar to that video because it did well, or you find yourself uploading constantly. Once again, the algorithm has shaped you into being something. I know there's people like Mr. Beast who talk about the algorithm being an audience, and that very well may be true. Even as a content creator, that very well may be true, but at the same time, you should not let your audience dictate you because they don't actually know you. They saw a video they liked that you made, and YouTube or whoever showed it to them because at that very moment that was relevant. So just be careful in letting the comment section or your algorithm audience say, hey, this is the kind of video you should make. Make sure you actually enjoy the video and it's something that you care to speak on. And so that kind of gets lost when you're constantly making videos and trying to get to 100 videos or 1,000. So just slow down. But as far as the stepping away, you will notice some kind of change when you start to step away. I don't know what kind of change, and I'm never here to say quit social media or just stay away forever. But I can only speak from my experience. The more I've slowly moved away myself and moved away from constantly having to find the next beautiful topic to talk about, you find yourself turning into what I was talking about earlier with the gambler. Or I didn't quite go into it, but it's like being a gambler. You get that dopamine hit when you hit that slot that one time and you actually win, or you win at blackjack. That happens the same thing when we're doom scrolling through YouTube or TikTok. Yes, every now and then you're going to find a video that is very educational, very great, very loving, and you're like, yes, I learned something today. But that'll also come with weeks and weeks of doom scrolling where you learn nothing at all. And the bad thing is when you doom scroll or watch video after video after video, you're probably gonna get more negative videos because drama tends to sell. And also, the next thing you know, you forgot what you learned a couple weeks ago. You don't get to apply any of these things because now you're looking for the next motivational video, the next David Goggins, the next Jaron, the next Neil deGrasse. You're looking for the next thing that's going to make you smarter. And I found myself always doing that. So if you're like me, if this is not for you, man, good to you. But if you're like me and you're always just trying to look for that next little nugget, something I can take with me to make my life a little bit better, make it suck a little worse. I mean, suck a little worse, suck a little less. Be careful. You really do need to go outside and just smell the roses, man. Look at the sunshine and maybe just do something else. Or maybe it's raining outside if you live in Seattle. But, just get out there and really try to communicate with other adults. My last thing here is the internet will make you feel very isolated. I noticed that the more I talk to other people like myself who's married and has kids and has a family, you will start to notice that these people really, if they're not on the internet like you are all the time, they have no idea what you're talking about when you say red pill, when you say trad wife, when you say lolcow, when you say A-logger, when you talk about these streamers, when you talk about these drama channels, when you talk about these people who are in niches like that one guy who went to prison for being an idiot. We can name a bunch of those. Or these people who go out here and just continue to bother people at any moment. We could talk about those on the internet. But if you go up to a regular family of people, they may not know who you're talking about. So the more you get entrenched in this internet, the more isolating it will become because you will be in this bubble that doesn't exist to a lot of the world. It may seem as if that is true, but just like when YouTube came out, most people, maybe not most people, but there is a subset of people who really just get on the internet to watch cat videos. There's a subset of people who only get on the internet to search what they want to see, and they don't get back on. They just want to see how to tie a tie. They just want to see what's going on in the sports world, and they get off. They're not deep entrenched into all of these internet drama, mumbo, slop. So, I'm not saying stay away from social media. I'm simply saying maybe take a step back and see if you really believe these things that you tend to keep talking about, and maybe save yourself. Go out there and develop a personality. That's all.